Got it.
And I will pin myself, give you a chance to get sorted like that, and mute you from here. So so semi-supine in this Alexander technique thing, so that you're connected to the floor through your feet. You will potentially need to access your belt or strap, so please feel free to have that somewhere handy. And then just take that little bit of time just to notice how placing the head on the brick. I always kind of prefer that to head on the block. It always feels a little bit like, you know, going for the guillotine. But it might feel initially quite awkward. So, you know, for me, when I come into this position initially, because it's such a length at the back of the neck, you're kind of feeling not just the length at the back of the neck, but also this connection to the front of the throat. But this is kind of where I want you to feel you've got that little bit of focus on, because this is one of the banders, one of the seals in the body. And kind of, we've been working with these, as I say, for the last 3 weeks. So we've talked about rib cage knitting, that's working into the obliques, and that links to a bander called Udian bander. And then we've talked about the drawstrings across the hips, which links into transverse abdominals. That works a little bit into Mula bander, the root bander. And then this one is Jalandhara bander, so the throat lock. And this one closely associated with things that happen with the shoulders. So that's why I've got you just to highlight. You might feel a little bit awkward with this connection at the front of the throat. But when we work with Alexander technique, very much about lengthening and connecting into postural work. So what I'm going to get you to do just to start with is just to take some lovely deep breaths in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. Just lengthening the exhale. Noticing that little tone at the front of the throat. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Just a couple more like that. Just centering. And then we're reverting to breathing in and out through the nose. And what I'm going to get you to do is just to gently slide the arms off the floor. So I want you to start with the palms facing upwards, arms just hovering off the floor. And to begin with, I want you to turn the palms out to the sides. So it's like you're releasing the thumbs to the floor and you're turning the palms out to the side, which will potentially bring you into a kind of feminine type position. So perhaps the back of the waist will lift off, perhaps you'll feel stretch across the tops of the shoulders. Again, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then from there, you're going to take that rotation through the arms, turn the palms to face the floor, and then turn them out, again, away from the body. But this time, you'll find the difference in the shoulders is that you'll take the shoulders into this kind of rounded position, but the spine will be lengthened, much more masculine. So I want you to move between those two variations turning the arms all the way. I mean, you'll end up with the palms facing out in both of the moves, but they are so very different to each other. And I just want you to just allow that, just to check out the difference. So I'll take one more of each. And then try and find the balance between the two. So I tend to come into it, the balance position, from masculine. So I've got my spine lengthening to the floor, but then I turn my palms to face upwards. From there, I'm going to take the attention into the left arm. I'm going to slide that left arm up to the ceiling and then soften into the shoulder joint. So my palm is facing to the middle of the body. From there, I'm going to move that shoulder blade. So as I inhale, I'm going to draw the left shoulder blade away from the spine, and it's going to extend the left fingertips further up to the ceiling. And then as I exhale, I'm going to slide the left shoulder blade towards the spine. So it's like an extension. This is called protraction of the shoulder blade. And then as you draw the arm and squeeze the shoulder blade towards the spine, it's retraction. So just do a few of those. Just really working into the fascia at the back of the shoulders. And then next time you retract the shoulder blade, so you bring the arm back kind of to the starting position. You're then going to turn the arm in the shoulder joint again, this time so the back of the hand is facing towards the floor, and then you're going to take the arm alongside of the ear. Now again, you're going to have much more sensation because you've got the head stacked on this brick. Breathing in, lengthen through the fingertips as if you're trying to reach for something behind you. And as you exhale, take that left arm forward and down, this time palm facing down, and just gently ease the head over to the right. And again, obviously it's not going to slide quite so well because you're onto that brick. Try and keep the chin in line with the body. Notice that it'll perhaps want to drop down, but try and keep it in line with the skull. Hold that there just for a moment or two. And then slowly turn the head back to the middle and release the left palm to face upwards again. So you're going to feel that length through the left side. So I want you to stay on the brick, but just enjoy that feeling of length through the left by sliding the left heel along the mat and then picking up that left foot and doing this kind of like reverse cycle. So first of all, you're going to slide the extended left leg into the chest or towards the chest. And then you're going to bend the left knee into the chest. And then you're going to slide the left heel along the floor. So you've really got to move into the extension on that left side. Take two more of those. So reverse the leg back towards the chest. Give it a little ease. I'm not going to get you to fully extend at the moment into hamstring, but it's just like the warm up. Then it's knee to chest, then it's leg extended along the floor again. And then this time, as you take the extended leg towards the chest, I just want you to think about clasping the hands behind the left thigh and just allowing the leg to move in. So you're just saying hello to your hamstring. And then as you bend the knee, I'm just going to get you to place the foot to the floor, inviting the body just to release. And, you know, quite often people say to me, I don't understand what you say when you say try and release or relax into the movement. This is kind of that feeling. So if you just compare how you're feeling on the left compared to the right, that's kind of the difference between being quite hard and fast in the body and being released within the movement. Okay, so let's match the right. So we'll begin by sliding the right arm or hand up towards the ceiling, probably having the arm and the hand just in line with the ribs. And then you're going to do those protractions, so gently extending the right fingertips up to the ceiling and then retracting the shoulder blade back towards the spine. And you're going to keep moving like that with the breath. Inhaling, extending the fingertips, exhaling, sliding the shoulder blade to the midline. Lovely. Okay, this is the last one. As you retract the shoulder blade to the midline, then you add in the rotation through the arm so that the back of the hand is leading as the arm extends alongside of the ear. And you're going to inhale, reach behind you, and then take extra care with the head because you're on that brick. You're going to slide the right hand forward and down, back towards the side of the body. And as you exhale, you're turning the head carefully to the left. Just feeling that lovely length through the right side of the neck. And then from there, once you've got that length in the body, slowly turn the head back to face the ceiling and turn the palm to face upwards again. Then from there, stay settled in the upper body, but make the most of the length through the right side, extending that right leg along the floor. Breathing in, bringing the right leg, the extended right leg to the chest. Exhale. Bend the knee. And then do it twice more along the line of the floor. Lifting it up. Inviting the extended leg towards the body. Bending the knee. And then on this last one, it's just going to add a little bit of connection to the hamstring, or warm up to the hamstring. Inviting the right leg to the chest and then maybe just clasping behind the back of the right thigh, just for a few moments. For those of you that want to be a bit more intense, you could slide the hands higher up the leg if you wanted to be a bit more intense with that movement. We are going to be looking at the little hamstring in a minute. And then you're going to bend the knee to the chest again. And then invite the foot to the floor. It's almost like you're feeling the floor, stroking the floor, release it into the floor. Now, you've been a while with the head on this brick, so I don't want you to just drop the head back down to the floor. It's too much, it's too intense. So as you move the brick away, you're just going to bring the clasped hands behind the head. And as you balance the head into the hands, try and keep that connection at the back of the neck. So don't just let the head fall. Feel that you're placing the head in the hands, and then once you're down to the floor, the elbows moving out to the side will kind of recreate that feminine you were feeling when you were turning the arms and the shoulder joints. To recreate the masculine, we're going to use all the abdominal muscles, so all the core muscles, to draw the elbows to the sky, to reach the chin to the chest, to knit the rib cage, and to a degree to drawstring the front of the hip bones, which is going to allow this wonderful stretch across the back of the neck, shoulders and upper back, without any strain on the neck whatsoever. Breathing in, press down into the hands, release the elbows out to the side, take a little breather, and then keep going, breathing out, chin to chest, that's Jalandhara Bandha, the ribs, Uddiyana Bandha, and that pelvic floor, or, you know, the lower pubis, Mula Bandha. Now, if you're in any doubt, thinking, am I using my neck? Press the head into the hands and relax. So the lift should be coming from the front of the rib cage and beyond. So there's no rush, it's not a sit-up, although it may feel like it. It's much more connected than that. It's a really wonderful way of lengthening out the back of the neck. Okay, I'm just going to get you to take 2 more of those. Always take that little breather in between opening the elbows out so that you don't start to kid your body into thinking that it is doing a sit-up. Very mindful about the movement. You know, you've got a lot of very delicate muscles in this area of the body. So I want to really get you to support the delicate muscles with those strong core muscles. Okay, this is the last one. The next time you release the head to the floor. Same thing as you move the hands away. And if you feel when you move the hands away that you're a bit vulnerable in the neck, by all means, slide a pillow or cushion under the head and then just bring the arms back down to the side. But try and keep that length at the back of the neck. So this is the point where potentially, well, I'm going to use my belt. It just means that you've got a little bit more arm extension. So what I'm going to do from here, is, again, I'm going to start on the left side. I'm going to basically begin by digging the left heel into the floor, extending the left heel along the floor, just like we did earlier on, picking up the left leg, and then as I invite the extended left leg in towards the chest, I'm actually going to bend deeply into the left knee. So I'm in a kind of half happy baby position. Now I want to try and keep this integrity at the back of my neck throughout this move. I'm going to take my belt or strap and I'm just going to loop it around the heel of the left foot. And I'm going to pick up the strap in my left hand and just take my right hand at the back of the left thigh. So this is that kind of weird move where the thigh and the knee stay more or less stable, but you're trying to move the shin and the foot. So the shin and the foot are going to try and lengthen. It's as if you're trying to get the left big toe towards the left shoulder. That's the inhale. And then the exhale, you're just moving that lower leg again to come back to the starting position. Now we're doing it with the strap. Sometimes we do it just holding the foot. Nice thing about having the strap there is that you've just got a bit of an extra long arm. So you can perhaps get a bit more extension. The downside about using the strap for me is that I need to be very aware of balancing evenly between my inner spiral in the foot and my outer spiral. So just what I need to do, and it might not be you, is I really need to reach into my outer spiral a little bit more than my inner spiral, because otherwise my foot wants to roll inwards. Now once I've done that a few times, I'm going to take the belt into the right hand and I'm going to extend the heel to the ceiling. And this particular move we haven't done for a while. used to include it on the hamstring stretches, and I was reminded about it by a friend who's been had lots of physio for the backs of her knees. So basically you're going to turn the foot, so the left foot is turning so that the left big toe is pointing towards the right shoulder. Now, the weird thing is that I want the hip bones to stay stable. So you're not shifting the left hip bone, that's staying in alignment. All you're turning is the rotation through the leg. And if you're not sure whether you're moving the hip bone, top tip, take the thumb of the left hand, place it on the hip bone, and have the fingers of the left hand wrapped around the buttock. So it's just stabilizing the pelvis to get the maximum juice out of that stretch. And you're going to feel it. Trust me, well, I feel it. Excellent. Okay, so after holding that for a few moments, you're just going to ease the foot back into its regular position. Draw the knee into the chest, give it a little squeeze. And then from there, again, just want you, as you come to semi-supine, to allow the leg to surrender. And that sounds a little bit weird, but if you take the strap off of your left foot, move the left knee out to the left, excuse me, as if you're doing Baddha Konasana, and initially take the little toe side of the left foot to the floor, then roll onto the foot as if you're kind of stroking the floor with your foot. Once you've got the knee in the air, try and allow the left side of the body to surrender into that semi-supine. And the best way I can describe it is if you're feeling into the floor rather than being on the floor. And then we're going to change sides. So keep that left leg where it is. Dig the right heel into the floor. Extend the right leg along the floor. Lift the right leg, drawing or inviting the extended right leg in towards the chest. And then from there, bend into the knee. So you're moving the knee, the right knee towards the right armpit. And then just loop the belt around the right ankle, the right heel if you can. So left hand comes to the back of the right thigh. And then from there, you're going to just work with that lower part of the right leg, moving it into semi-extension. So the big toe comes towards the shoulder, and then bend the knee back into half happy baby. And just move between those two movements. It's quite a small move. Don't try and make it anything large. It's not. It's quite a subtle extension. Just kind of set you up for that next big thought of reaching into the inner thigh. And then from there, the next time you draw the right knee into the armpit, swap the strap over into your left hand and extend the left heel towards the sky so that you can turn the right foot towards the left shoulder. And if you think you're moving your hip, use the space between the right thumb and the first finger to keep that right hip stable. So you've got that same projection of easing the right big toe towards the shoulder. Interesting move. Deep, deep stretch. What you might find is your left knee slightly rolling in a little bit, and I'm not going to get you not to do that. It's almost like an automatic reaction. And then from there, slide the leg back, heel to ceiling, draw the right knee to the chest to release the strap. Take the right knee out to the side, come onto the little toe side of the right foot, and then as you slowly bring the knee into the air, try and surrender into the foot so that you're really feeling being part of the floor in this semi-supine position. Lovely. So, slide the heels a little bit closer. It would seem unfair not to take a very easy bridge here. So just when I say easy, I mean with ease. So don't worry about lifting up too high, just thinking about stretching out the lumbar spine. And then eventually easing all the way to the floor, upper, middle and lower back. And then from there, just take both knees out to the side, walk both feet towards each other. So you're taking Supta Baddha Konasana position. And then just as a variation, we'll just take this into a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to take my arms up to shoulder height. As I exhale, I'm going to roll my right leg on top of my left leg. So it's almost like I'm going to take the big toe of the right foot and stack it onto the big toe of the left foot. And then both my knees rotate to the left. And then I'm going to undo back to Baddha Konasana, and then I'm going to change sides. So just a variation on the theme. I always just call this open book to closed book. Let's just do one more time. Now, the interesting thing for me, and you know, I'm always trying to get you to think about how one posture can lead you into another. On the third set of this movement, I actually find this helps me into quite a strong twist. So the next time I stack my right big toe on top of my left big toe, obviously for the rest of the feet as well, I'm actually going to then bring my knees to my chest, but keep my right shoulder on the floor. Now this is quite a strong classical yoga position called Jathara Pavariti. But coming into it this way makes you use your legs as opposed to forcing the movement into the lumbar spine. So just stay with it for a couple of moments. Just notice how you are connecting to the legs and the core to a degree. And then to come out of it, you're going to go slide the legs away from the body, come back into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is the open book position, and then change sides. So roll over, left big toe and foot, on to right. So you've already got the length and the twist. Now you're just adding in, drawing the knees up to the chest, but keeping the integrity of the spine. So you're not forcing the movement into the lower back. So for me, this is much safer way of taking this position, rather than, you know, I see some classes where they're rocking from side to side in this strong knee to chest position. It's quite strong on the lower back. Hold it there for a few moments. And then that's all of our warm-ups sorted. So as we slide the legs away from the body, opening back into Supta Baddha Konasana. Why don't we come up into sitting from this position? So I'm rolling onto the elbows first, rolling onto the fingers, and then, you know, I quite like to do maybe a little bit of cat, or the cat ethos in this position. So I'm just going to move my bottom away from my heels a little bit so that I can balance. I'm going to bring my arms out in front, and as I exhale, I'm going to take a little bit of rounded back or angry cat, and as I inhale, send my chest forward, take that lovely extension across the top chest, and then just do a couple more of those. And then the next time, I'll take that top chest forward. Again, I'm just going to bring my arms up behind me and just have a little release. There's quite a nice feeling of opening to the front body. So from here, we're going to take a down facing dog. So either you could swing the legs around. What I'm going to do is cross my shins, roll over my hands, and then I'm going to step back into down facing dog. So whichever one is right for you, as long as you end up in down dog, I'm happy. And then just going to walk the dog a little bit. And this is kind of like the final part of the sun salute we're going to do, this variation of sun salute. So I'm going to soften into the knees, walk my hands towards the feet. And that's going to bring me into Ardha Uttanasana. And from there, I'm going to slide my arms up behind me like wings, lift my top chest and feel that I can lift up through my lower pubis, knit my ribs together. And then from there, once I've got all that going on in my core, I can slide my arms alongside of the ears. So that's kind of like the final. So this chair pose is the completion of the vinyasa. Breathing in, extend the arms up towards the sky, and as you exhale, release the arms down by the side of the hips. Let me just change my camera a little bit. So I'm starting at the front of my mat and bringing my hands into prayer position, softening my knees a little bit, and as I exhale, I'm going to bring the chin to the chest. So again, I'm using that Jalandhara Bandha. I'm breathing in, keeping the chin to the chest, palms together above the head. And as I exhale, I'm going to touch the back of the heart. I'm then going to inhale. Now this time, as my palms go up to the ceiling, I'm going to soften in my knees. And I'm kind of going to hang off of my arms in a sort of semi-back bend. Then I'm going to bring my hands in front of the heart, and I'm going to clasp my hands as my forward counter pose to that move. Oh, so lovely. From there, breathing in, fingertips to the floor, chest lengthen, step back, left. I'm going to use my left just to make it easy for you to see me. Drop the knee to the floor, and then from there, exhaling into dog pose. Inhale through to plank, but then at this point, you're going to come into melting heart. So drop the knees to the floor, bring the knees in line with the bottom, and then walk those arms forward. So bringing the forehead to the floor if possible, if not the chin or even the chest. Trying not to roll off the knees, so make sure that bottom stays in line. I love this position. You know, just feel it's so releasing. Now we're just going to take it through to a release onto the front belly. So from the melting heart position, hopefully gracefully, you can release the legs out behind you and slide onto the tummy. resting the head on the hands. From here, I'm going to tuck the left toes under, reach into the left heel, take that left thigh and knee off the floor and feel that extension again through the back of the left leg. We already know the legs connect just below the ribs, so perhaps you'll even be able to feel a little bit of that in this movement. And then release, making sure the tops of the toes release to the floor, and then change to the right leg, tucking the toes under, extending through the right heel. Really enjoying that sensation of connecting the right leg, perhaps somewhere underneath the rib cage. Now from this position, you can either choose just to stay with the head on the hands and just really connect with the toes, the tops of the toenails, or you can exhale, press into the hands and slide the elbows underneath the shoulders, the Sphinx. Now remember, we talked a lot about this, trying not to grip the buttocks together, if possible, trying to lift the front pubis, and then from there, you're releasing, hands by the floating ribs as far back as they can go, to reach through the elbows and into the hands so that you can end up bringing the bottom towards the heels, extending into extended child with the option of popping in down facing dog. So whichever one you're doing, extended child or down facing dog, hold for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. And then from here, you're going to take the gaze forward and you're going to walk the feet forward towards the hands, ending up Ardha Uttanasana, swooping the arms behind, and as you do, lift up the front of the pubis, bring and knit the rib cage together, and then bring the arms around for chair pose. And then from there, inhaling, reach all the way up to standing, lovely. And as you exhale, bring the arms back down to the sides of the hips. Breathing in, bring the hands to the heart. And as you breathe out, soften the knees a little and bring the chin to the chest. Breathing in, send those pressed palms to the ceiling. And as you exhale, touch the back of the heart. Breathing in, gaze up to the thumbs and maybe inside of the thumbs, dropping the head back away from the hands. And then from there, counterpose that move, bringing the hands in front and then clasping the hands behind you, head to shin position. How far can the arms move? From there, breathing in, bring the fingertips to the floor. This time it's right leg steps back, right knee to the floor, and then down facing dog. From down facing dog, it's plank pose. And then dropping the knees, and you know where we're at. We're going into melting heart, keeping the bottom in line with the knees. Extending, forehead to the floor, lengthening through the arms. Some maybe will be able to get the chin or the chest down, eat mat. Trying not to roll off of the knees. And then from there, you're going to release all the way onto the front. Now this time we're going to do Sphinx again, but we're going to come into it slightly differently from the lovely recovery position. So take, it's right leg this time. So right leg slides out in line with the hip. Keep the left leg where it is. Turn the head to the left. You know this one really well. Now I'm really interested when we vary these movements, and you know they're always getting varied because of different body shapes and body types in the West. So in this movement, we're actually going to do a variation of Sphinx meets recovery, or recovery Sphinx. Now, because you've got one leg turned out to the side, you might be turning that right hip out a little bit, but you could, you know, just put a little bit of tone in there. So maybe 10% tone into that right hip drawstring. And then turn the head back to the center, press into the hands and slide onto the elbows. So you're in this kind of Sphinx meets recovery position. Some of you may find it slightly easier, others not so. And then from there, release back to the floor. Send that right leg out behind you, or it's going to feel much longer than the left, as it always does after recovery. Change sides. So recovery on the left, turn the head to the right. Taking 5 to 6 deep breaths there. Now, if you found that being in the Sphinx recovery was not your bag for your body, please feel free to stay in recovery. You don't have to do the elbow bit. But then from there, maybe at this point, turn the head back onto the hands. Perhaps draw that rib cage in a little bit. Press into the hands with the option of coming onto the elbows. When you're ready, after a couple of breaths, you're going to slide that left leg out. Maybe just stay with the elbows for a second. So that you can surrender into the pelvis. And then from there, hands by the floating ribs, slide back, extended child. And then from there, after a recovery moment or two, tuck the toes under, peel up into down facing dog. And take maybe a lovely little walk in the dog. But you're holding for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. From there, walking the feet forward towards the hands. Add Uttanasana, and then taking that into chair pose by sliding the arms behind, connecting to the front pubis, the front of the ribs, sliding the arms alongside of the ears, and then breathing in. And as you exhale, release the arms back down to the side after stamping through the legs. Just give the shoulders a little release back. Okay, we're going to vary this movement a little bit. We'll start the same way, but then we're going to add in a couple of different movements. So, hands into prayer position, soften the knees. Exhale, bend the chin to the chest. Take the palms, pointing to the ceiling. Touch the back of the heart. From there, inhale, take the palms to the ceiling, maybe a little bit of back bend. And then fall forward, clasping the hands behind the back as you do so. From there, you're going to back to the left leg. So release the hands, step the left leg, but not too far back. Tramline feet, because I'm going to ask you then to lift up into high standing lunge. From this position, so remember, if you're a bit wobbly, take the left leg a little bit further out to the left. From this position, make sure the right knee is in line with the right ankle. Breathe in. And as you exhale, turn and twist to the right. From that position, send the palms wide, extending the arms wide, and then bring the right hand to the back of the left thigh, turn the left palm to face the ceiling, and slide it alongside of the face, or the ear, whichever one works for you. Now, what I'm going to get you to do here is take this left elbow and drop it behind the head. And I'm going to clasp my right hand into my left hand. So I'm using my right elbow as a bit of a weight. And there's all good reason for this. So I'm really getting this big stretch. And I might have to lift in that front pubis just to keep my core engaged into the left side. From there to counter pose, I'm going to undo the arms, turn and twist back to the center, clasp the hands behind the back and fold forward inside of my right leg. Head and neck released. From there, I'm going to bring my hands either side of my right foot. This is where it gets interesting. I'm going to take my right leg into three-legged dog. And I'm going to see if I can step my right foot outside of my right hand. So it's a little bit like we do gecko, both hands inside of the right foot. Okay, I'm just going to turn around so that you can see me better. From there, I'm going to drop my left knee to the floor. And I'm potentially going to see if I can lengthen, flatten out enough with my back to get my right hand behind my right shin. Or even my right shoulder underneath my right knee. Okay, now I know that's asking a lot, so that's why I said getting the hand through is enough. Couple of breaths. And then from there, pick up the back leg. Release the hand so it's back outside of the right leg and step back to down dog. Noticing how wonderful it is to release that right heel to the floor. Oh, okay, yeah, you deserve a bit of a break here. Just bend the knees to the floor. Bring the bottom back to the heels. Extended child, you're going to feel that length through the right side. Keep breathing. And then literally, excuse me, transition, walking the feet to the hands. Ardha Uttanasana. Chair pose, arms behind, front belly, front ribs, arms alongside of the ears. Reach you up. We've got one more set to do. I love these movements. Exhale, slide the arms back down to the side. I love anything that can make me a bit taller, you know that. So, last one. Hands to heart. Drop the chin to the chest, breathing in. Lift the arms up, touch the back of the hand. Breathing out, bring the arms up, gaze, and then bring the hands in front before clasping them behind and folding forward. From there, bring the hands either side of the foot and step back with the right leg, but not too far. From here, you're going to move into high standing lunge. That's going to feel like the wrong leg, but it's not. You're breathing in, and as you exhale, you're turning and twisting to the left. And then you're pressing the palms wide. Turning the right palm to face upwards, bringing the left hand onto the back of the right leg, and bringing that left arm alongside of the face. Then you're bending, bringing that right elbow behind the head, and just literally clasping the hands. So you can use the left elbow as a little bit of a weight. So it's not Gomukhasana, a bit easier than that. You've not got the arm up the back or anything awful like that. You've just got this big length coming out of your right hip flexor, knitting the rib cage, stretching the shoulders. Fab. Maybe even pressing the head back into the elbow. Then you're going to inhale, release the top arm. You're going to turn the ribs back to face the front. Clasp the hands behind the back. And then slide forward inside of the left inner thigh into that forward fold. Head to shin. Arms reaching overhead. And then from there, release the hands, either side of the right foot, left foot even. Three-legged dog, left leg lifts. And then left foot steps outside of left hand. Drop the knee, drop the right knee to the floor. See if you can lengthen forward enough to be able to slide the left hand underneath the left knee. That's it. It's going to feel a little bit weird. It's kind of like, Joel know this because she came in on Saturday, it's a bit like half tortoise. This is the one I forgot to do on Saturday. Some of you might be able to get the shoulder underneath the knee. Try not to round the back though. Try and lengthen out through the spine. For me, it helps to tuck my right toes under. Yay! And then from there, I'm taking the arm and bringing it back outside of the left foot so that I can take down facing dog. Again, that sense of really being able to surrender. Surrender not meaning collapse, meaning release, but with strength. And then from there, drop the knees. Any version of extended child or polar bear. I know quite often my favoured version at this point is to have my elbows kind of either side of my head, bring my palms together, and then give my child a Mohican. So I'm placing my thumbs in the nape of the neck, I'm spreading my fingers, extending my elbows forward, and taking some lovely deep breaths. And there are quite a lot of variations of this position, you know, where you can have the elbows on bricks and all sorts of things. But from here, I've just got one more thing to do, which is actually in standing. It seems a bit odd after all this movement we've been doing, but it means that we can even our vinyasa up. So we'll take down facing dog again. We'll walk the feet forward towards the hands. Lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Slide the arms behind, front belly, front ribs, chair pose. Really use that front core to press into the legs and feel the energy release down through the legs and up through the upper body. And then from there, just ease the arms back down to the side so that you're standing in Tadasana. And the final move I wanted to do, and I'm aware I'm fast running out of time, but was the strap move. So it's going to be kind of reduced, which you might be saying, yeehaw. So strap nice and wide. We'll do a couple of those movements. You know, the basic roller position. Away behind you, knitting that rib cage together if you can. Forward, up and back down. Maybe a little bit of softness in the knees. So trying not to flare the ribs. And it might feel a little bit more accessible because of what we've been doing. Okay, then we're going to end up with the strap back up towards the ceiling. Now I want you to imagine it's a bit of a pole. So it's become a bit of a broomstick, which would be ideal, but we haven't got one. And then what you're going to do is, I'll mirror you this time. You're going to take the broomstick over to the right. So you end up right hand down, left arm kind of on top of the head. And then basically what you're going to do is just take that broomstick behind you, seeing if you can lengthen both arms. But again, think about what you're doing with the core. So soften the knees, knit the ribcage together, lift the front pubis. Hold and breathe. Yay. And then from there, breathing in. Ease it over to the right again and lift it up to the sky. Now, once I had a cousin who was drying himself in the shower and actually dislocated his shoulder joint because it was so damn stiff. We'll not be doing that. So over to the side. That cushion still exists, by the way. That sounds awful when I say I once had, doesn't it? So there you go. You're taking the left hand behind, trying to lengthen the right arm. Trust me, if you did do this with a broomstick, it would feel much stronger, even though we think we're keeping the stability. I did try it with a broomstick and it was much more challenging. Deep breaths. And then from there, this time complete the move by sliding the right arm to join the left. And then just release the strap. You know, please feel free to take any little releases in the hips, yeah, because you're going to have brought a little bit of tension into the lumbar spine. So just ease that out. Good. And then it's this sense, isn't it, that, you know, when we first begin yoga practice, we actually think that having the palms facing down is normal. But, you know, if I was to walk along like this all the time, it would be very weird, wouldn't it? It would really round the upper body. So I know that we don't have the palms facing upward, but we do slightly rotate the arms so that the arms are sort of hanging. Okay, we're hanging out back to the floor. So I'm going to get you to clasp the hands behind the head, to bring the chin to the chest, to bend the knees, draw the elbows towards each other, and take a very releasing roll down. Take your time. Notice each vertebrae. And then eventually you can, so whichever takes your fancy, you can go into a squat, sit down, or you can come onto your knees. Whichever one works for you. So, I like to kind of round out the practice a little bit. So what I thought we'd do is to use the blankets. But well, a towel would also be fine, because you don't need much. You don't need much of a sausage. So this time, instead of having the brick at the base of the skull, we're going to take just a little bit. Can you see I've just got a tiny bit of my blanket roll. So it's only a skinny sausage. Or you could do it with a towel. And I'm actually going to have that for the first part of my practice, first part of my relaxation. I'm going to have that underneath my neck. So it's going to look a little bit like this. So I'll be in my semi-supine position with that little bit of blanket just underneath the neck. So I've kind of done the opposite to what I did at the beginning. Now, if you found that tips your head too far back, just stack up the head as well. So maybe bring the blanket in and take a little bit underneath the head. Or put a block there or a cushion. What you don't want to do is have the chin tipping upwards. So just like we did at the very start of the practice, I'm just going to get you to take semi-supine, constructive rest for, I don't know, about a minute or so. But I want you to try and surrender into it. So I want you to imagine that you are laid on a lovely, I don't know, sheepskin rug. Am I allowed to say sheepskin rug? If not, it has to be a shag power carpet. But it's something really soft, really releasing to touch. And I want you to actually, instead of being on that rug, trying to be in it. So trying to allow the feet to relax enough that they're stable and strong, but they're not on top of. They are. It's a bit like if you put your hand on somebody's arm to comfort them, you wouldn't be aggressively touching their arm. You would be soft touch. And that's kind of what I want from you on this semi-supine position. With the feet, and it starts with the feet. If the feet can be soft touch, then the sacrum can be soft touch. And then the spine, right and left sides of the spine, and even the shoulders. Maybe even the shoulder blades can stroke the form. Now it's really up to you where you want to go from here. If you like having that little support underneath the neck, stay with it. If you'd rather not have it, move it away. It's nice and warm. Just when you take it away, it feels very cold. And then from there, if you'd like to ease the legs into Shavasana or any variation of that, please feel free to do it. Please though try and keep the attention into the back body, softening without slouching. It's almost like inviting a smile into your body. So perhaps a smile across the face, a smile across the shoulders, maybe the hips, maybe the palms of the hands. But above all else, remembering physical practice of yoga talks a lot about the spine. So for this final couple of minutes, I just want you to visualize that you're breathing in from the base of the spine all the way up to almost the crown of the head. And as you breathe out, you're breathing out, down through the spine to the base. Now, both of these movements are right. You can either breathe in through the front spine and out through the back of the spine, or you can breathe in through the back of the spine and out through the front of the spine. Check out them both, or maybe instinctively, one of them shows itself to you. So as this practice begins to draw to a close, take your time, perhaps feeling that you can Slide the heels to the sit bones maybe. Ease yourself back into semi-supine. Begin to connect the knees to the chest. And eventually, easing yourself back over to the side and into sitting. So just for a moment, as you find that seated position, allow the energy to move from the base of the spine to the crown, because that's why the spine is so important in yoga. And then from there, easing the arms up and out to the side, gathering the energy around you, gazing up to the thumbs, and then as you exhale, sealing that practice down through the third eye, to the lips and the throat, and to the heart. Well done. Let me switch this recording on.